All right, let me put that into words on a recording. Welcome to episode 4. Fucking throat. All right. Um, yeah, so I am always angry and jealous because I want to like things and I don't really like things generally. Um, I have a really hard time with that, finding stuff I give a shit about. Um, so that always makes me pretty mad and upset, and I get jealous of other people because, like, ooh, they can like name dozens upon dozens of things that they like enough that it's like, oh yeah, that's an 8 out of 10. That's pretty nice. Meanwhile, I'm like, wait, isn't that like the highest it gets? How do you how do you find stuff you like so much? And not just that, but also how much they have. Like I can name the things I like that much on like one hand. Um, Let me actually do that right now. In terms of like, let's say anime and books, stuff that I would give an 8 out of 10. So we got Assassination Classroom, Hunter x Hunter. Um, that's it for anime, I guess. Technically, you could maybe count One Piece. I don't really care about One Piece anymore. I used to care a lot about One Piece. Um, it's just that I don't really like the anime. I can't fucking handle the pacing anymore. And I don't mean the overall pacing. I just mean when they stretch out scenes and stuff. That's fucking obnoxious. And manga just for some reason doesn't resonate with me at all. So you could technically count One Piece, which used to be my favorite thing ever, but I don't give a shit anymore about that. So that's that. And then in terms of books, you got uh, the light novel. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Uh, I like that one a lot, even though it goes completely to shit after like volume 8 or 9 or something. But everything before that is pretty great. Yeah, that's it. That's all. In terms of that stuff that I like actually care about. There are other things that I would like give a 7 out of 10 that I think are pretty nice. Like for example the Parasite anime and so on. That's nice. Um, but yeah, in terms of stuff that I would give at least an 8, that's that. I don't know what I would have given One Piece. I would have probably given that like some weird number, like 13.5 out of 10 is what I said, I think, like 6, 7 years ago or something. Um, it doesn't make any sense, but I didn't want to give it just a 10 because then everything else would have just gotten completely pushed down. And then Hunter x Hunter and Assassination Classroom, I would give the anime an 8, and then uh, Parasite a fucking 7. Okay, so that's that. Barely anything that I really care about, and that makes me mad. I want to find more things that I care about. Um, very sad, very upset, very jealous, yeah, yada, yada, yada. Um, yeah, but I always just kind of like thought for a long while, okay, maybe like, I don't know, what is like, why? Why do I have such a hard time finding stuff I like? What is my taste? And this goes back to like what I had mentioned before, that sometimes like explaining yourself is pretty difficult. Not just explaining yourself, but understanding yourself. That when I watch video essays and people can explain why they feel the way they do, and even just a little bit of detail, and that's already amazing because I understand how much thought it takes to like really understand yourself, even on that level, that you not just know how you feel, but you can even just kind of explain why you feel the way you do. Um, so that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of explain what I like uh, in media and why it's so difficult for me to find that. And it's like, it took me years to just even understand this much about it. But I've thought about it some more recently, and I've come to realize that it's actually extremely straightforward, like my taste. Like I always kind of assumed that, okay, maybe I just have like really weird specific tastes or something where it's like, I don't know, it has to be lots of different elements maybe. Well, I mean, I don't know why I don't find stuff that I like. Like, huh? Huh? But no, it's really simple, really straightforward, which is just, they're just two fucking things I care about. Uh, One is just people fucking dicking around, just doing funny stuff together, just characters maybe being assholes towards their friends and stuff and just joking around. That's fun. I like that a lot. Um, and that by itself might even be enough for me to really care about something. Like not really really care. Oh, this is like really great, but care enough that it's like genuinely worthwhile for me to read it. read or watch or whatever. Like recently, the last few books I've read, they were mostly like that, and that was fine. Like I'd probably give them mostly like a six or something. Um, and like that's the thing for me. I don't know. Like for other people, it's probably like, oh, a six. Okay, so yeah, maybe worthwhile. For me, it's like, oh, a six. Like, it's not amazing, but it's actually worthwhile. I mean, maybe if it's like a strong six, if it's like a light six, I don't know. Um, but I think something like I like something kind of. I go like, oh yeah, this is like a 6 out of 10, and then I spend like the next 100 hours just reading it. Like I read like 20 volumes or something, just because I think it's kind of okay. Like not just okay, it's neat. It's I actually like it. Not a lot, but I like it. That's amazing. Which I mean, I probably wouldn't do if I had an easier time finding like sevens and eights and so on. Stuff that I like actually like it stuff just like, oh yeah, that's neat. But yeah, people dicking around, that's a lot of fun. I like that a lot. Um, so that's that. And then the other thing, which is probably more vital for me to really care about something and not just like, oh yeah, that's fun, but actually, like I guess connecting with it and going like, dude, this is a piece of media that like means something to me. Um, I like in general, I don't really have many experiences like that. People always talk about like, oh, how media like either changed their life or taught them something about themselves, changed their perspective and so on. I don't really have that. I would like to have that. I would really, really like to have stuff like that. Um, but yeah, not really. Don't really have that. Parasite. Okay, I said I'd give Parasite like a seven, not even an eight. But just to explain this other thing that I did, that's the only thing I really care about. The only two things. So when I watched Parasite for the first time, I was amazed. Like I was already in this phase where like I already didn't find any anime that I really liked. Like before that, I just kind of watched fucking everything and didn't care too much. Um, and still found stuff that like resonated with me and so on. Um, I think I watched Parasite in 2018, so when I was 18 years old. And at that point, it was like, dude, Parasite. Okay, when I watched Parasite, I felt like, yeah, it would have been like really amazing if I had watched this like 2 years prior, because it would have probably would 2 years have been enough? 2 years, 3 years. If I was like 15 or 16, if I had watched it then, it would have been like, dude, all these like thoughts in my head that I was trying to put into words and trying to comprehend. This puts it all into words. Holy shit. Um, because like uh, the core of like let's say my worldview and what I care about in media and so on is just like you guys can all go fucking die. I just wanted to say that. But it's more like how do I phrase it? I was gonna say who gives a shit, but it's not who gives a shit. It's like why do you think I would give a shit? That's more like it. It's basically I don't uh, subscribe to this whole like morality thing, this whole good and evil thing, this whole good and bad thing. Like, oh, I like this piece of media, therefore it's all subjective, is what I'm saying. It's all a matter of opinion. Like, one person might commit an atrocity, other people might see them as a hero, that kind of stuff. I mean, you should at least be aware that it's a thing, right? Whether you agree with it or not is a different thing. But like, um, I think that's a concept that people have probably been generally exposed to. That like different people with different upbringings have different perspectives and different opinions. That's very straightforward. It's just a thing that I think most people just kind of ignored it and are like aware of it, but still think, no, they're wrong, they're evil. And I think that's retarded. Uh, like if someone goes around and kills a bunch of people, then I'm personally not a fan of that. Like subjectively, I'd say that's no brano. Like please don't do that. But it doesn't make them like a bad person or evil or whatever. It's just like I subjectively disagree with the actions. That's all that's to that. Like I don't believe in like fucking justice or whatever. That's all stupid. Um, I mean that's kind of a separate thing, but that's why. Anyways, like uh, yeah, that's basically the whole thing. That uh, I don't know if I explained it well enough right now. I think if I keep going, I'm just gonna keep repeating it over and over. So let's move a bit further. So that's my baseline. That's what I believe, that there's no such thing as good and evil. And so whenever a story goes at it with the perspective that there is such a thing as good and evil, then I just kind of get pissed and especially if it's like a large focus, I'm gonna get really fucking annoyed. Like for example, everyone fucking loves Death Note. Before I watched Death Note, I assumed that I would either enjoy it a lot or absolutely despise it. And I watched the first episode and I just kind of wanted to strangle Light. Like the fucking main character is so fucking obnoxious with his I'm justice. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I dropped it and I later came back and watched like some more episodes. It was actually kind of neat because he shut the fuck up about his bullshit after the first episode. So that was a weird experience because usually shows don't change all that much after the first episode. Like there might be some plot stuff that changes and so on, but the general perspective of the show and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff is more or less the same most of the time. So I think the whole 3 episode rule, oh, watch the first 3 episodes before you drop something, I think that's retarded. Watch the first 10 seconds, then fucking drop it. I usually try to at least finish the first episode when I watch something new. But it's very, very rare for me to like watch more and then feel any different. If anything, things usually just get worse. Like the only thing that could change is if they like introduce a new main character and I really like that character, that might make it feel worthwhile. But it's not really often the case. And again, in this case, it was the complete outlier because Light's personality didn't fucking change, but the focus of the story changed completely. The first episode was just there to establish his fucking obnoxious personality, and then after that, that went in the background. It was just kind of like about him and Elle having their fucking mind game bullshit. So that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. And Light wasn't being obnoxious anymore. He was still the same character, but he shut the fuck up about this bullshit. So that was a lot easier to just ignore. But yeah, um, if this whole morality thing is the focus, then I usually fucking hate it because that's the thing. Like with the way I talk about it, oh, morality is subjective and all that, and that's what like matters to me in stories and so on. You might think that what I'm saying is that I want stories with like, oh, complex moralities and oh, the good guys are actually the bad guys and the bad guys are the good guys and who's actually, oh, no, I don't care. That's literally the opposite of what I'm saying. Oh, it's not exactly the opposite, but it's still the same. Like, I'm not saying, ooh, like good people can do bad things. Ooh, no, I'm saying that I don't believe in good and evil. That's not a thing. There's just people and they have opinions. They do what they want. And what they want doesn't necessarily mean that they have no morals and just do what they feel like, that they're just very impulsive and just do what they want in the moment. That's not what I mean. You can have a character do something that's uncomfortable for them and takes effort and they push themselves and they do it because of their own morality. And I'm not gonna dislike that. I might even enjoy that a lot. My problem is when they're fucking how do you say that? Virtual signal dickheads. There we go. Like ooh, you killed people. Stop killing people. Stop being so mean. Shut the fuck up. I don't care. Um, like I actually really like when characters like have honor and things they care about and are doing very stupid things like fighting fair and like having a fight to the death and they're actually like fighting fair instead of trying to fucking survive. Like that's fucking stupid. But if they do it because it means something to them, because it's important to like their morals and their view of themselves, and they personally subjectively really care about it, then that's great. I like dumb people doing dumb shit. Like if they do stupid shit that brings them like that endangers themselves or whatever, but it means something to them. It's important to them. Ooh, that I like that. But if then those same fucking people go around and go like, "Ooh, everyone else should behave like me. You have no honor, you bitch." I don't fucking care. Like, shut the fuck up. Like for example, in this one story, there was the main character fighting against the guy, and it was like almost kind of a mirror match because they had very similar abilities, but the other guy was just way stronger. So his enemy already was like having the total advantage, and then the main character just kept getting his ass kicked over and over, but he did the thing. He didn't give up. He went up again and again. The other guy was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you keep standing up? Just let me kill you." Because it was like not just that the main character didn't want to fucking die, he didn't want to fucking lose. He was just getting more pissed. And so the other guy was like, "Damn, that's actually kind of respectable." Um, and then one of the enemy's allies just kind of shot the main character and like uh, the main character and his enemy were fighting, and they were really like bearing into each other, were focused on one another, and then just did someone else just shot the main character from a distance. It's like, bruh, like that's not exactly fair. But it's like the cool thing about it was that like the main character didn't give a shit. He like didn't make any excuses or say like, oh, you what, you were fighting fair, whatever. And instead, what happened was that like both of them wanted that fair match, and so his enemy actually got fucking pissed at the other guy who shot him. I was like, dude, I was having like this epic fucking fair battle here where we're like having an honest fight, like fucking man, kicking our asses, getting up over. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why are you taking this fucking fight away from me? Um, so then he just like grabbed his own weapon and stabbed himself to go like, okay, now it's even. And like the main character was like, why the fuck did you do that? He's like, no, I want to have a fair fight. And the main character was like, oh, okay, cool. And then they were like going on with their fair fight, and it was awesome. If the main character had like cried about, oh, this is unfair, we were having a one-on-one, shut the fuck up, I don't care. But that's not what happened, and so that's kind of what I'm talking about. Um, like in that same story was also similar thing way earlier, where like two other characters were like having an epic battle. Like they were like fucking giants. They were fighting almost every day for like 100 years because they were like having some kind of dick measuring contest and like they both caught like huge fucking sea monsters and they were like, mine's bigger, no, mine's bigger. And then they just kept beating the shit out of each other and I already forgot why they were fighting in the first place. But they were like, no, no, that's how we do it where we're from. It's like in the lands of giants, we like have honor and have our honor belts. Like they were actually friends and really liked each other, but they still were trying to kill one another, which is really fucking stupid. But I really liked it. Just this, yeah, people just like sticking to their guns and having their own ideals and so on and going for that. That's awesome. I really do like that. What I don't like is if they like shove their fucking morals down other people's throat. And most people are like that on some level, and so a lot of stories are like that as well. Um, yeah, but what I really like in stories is if you have like, especially if it's the main character, or if it feels like the story itself has that attitude of just no, it's like it's all fucking subjective. You have your own perspective. I might have to fucking kill you because you're in my way, but that's not because you trying to kill me is a bad thing. That's just because you trying to kill me is something that I don't want. So that kind of attitude, I liked it a lot. That's how I view the world, and so I really like when stories take that perspective. Like just recently, read like I read like 6,000 pages of a web novel where basically the main character had that kind of attitude. And I think the story was okay. I didn't like it that much, but like even just the main character being like that was enough for me to give enough of a shit that I read that much. Yeah, 6,000 pages. It takes me like 1 to 2 minutes to read a page, I think, something like that. Um, so yeah, and that's the thing. That's basically it. Like my tastes are just that fucking straightforward. I'm just that much of a basic bitch that that's enough for me to give up something a shit about something. And I want to be a basic bitch because I want to enjoy stuff. I want to find things I like. But I don't understand why the fuck I can't. Why the fuck it's so rare for me to find something that I like that much if it's that straightforward. Like surely there are more stories like that out there. Surely they're not that hard to find. I don't know. I don't know why it's so difficult for me to find something. Um, yeah, because again, I would like to find stuff that I actually like, really like. Like, ooh, a 7 out of 10. Ooh, an 8 out of 10. Doesn't even have to be beyond that. Like an 8, that's fucking amazing. Holy shit. Um, yeah, I would give this one that I read like maybe a strong 5, light 6, something like that. Maybe a 6. I don't know. That one was okay. But yeah, um, I think I don't have anything to add to this. I'm just upset generally, and I'm slightly less upset right now because I was able to like get a better grasp on why I feel the way I do. And that's another thing I really like to do, understanding myself. Understanding other people is cool, but I don't really care about other people. I want to understand myself. That's like one of the main things I care about in life. Just not even for any specific purpose, doing anything with that information, just learning more about myself. That's cool. I like that. It just takes a lot of mental effort and it's really annoying, so I don't put that much effort into it mostly. Because you have to think about something over and over again for a few weeks usually before you like subconsciously put the pieces together and then something makes more sense again. So I usually don't really do it that much actively. Um, but it's nice to learn more about myself, yeah. I've been recording for almost 20 minutes. That's kind of amazing. How much I can just sometimes ramble on. Like sometimes I have a really hard time getting anything out, and now I'm just rambling for 20 minutes. That's cool. I hope I made myself clear. All right, second recording. I've been thinking recently again about what I said probably sometime near the very beginning of the podcast. I said it as if I had made like 50 fucking episodes. This is like the fourth one. Um, but yeah, I've been thinking about. What have I been thinking about? Hold on. Let me pause. All right, yeah. What I've been thinking about was just. Hold on, let me pause. All right, what I've been thinking about was just recording in general. Like, okay, sometimes I have like an idea for something that I think like, oh, should I record that for the podcast? Um, or sometimes I have no idea. Like, here's the thing. I'm doing this thing where I'm like valuing it too much because the whole point is just to like, again, record my fucking thoughts and not worry about it. But I am worried about it, and then like as I don't know what to say, and instead of just recording and rambling on like I did at the very beginning, I'm just kind of like, no, I would much rather like at least try to say something instead of just rambling on. Say anything somewhat specific, well thought out, at least kind of. Um, so that's the thing. And sometimes I have an idea for something to say, but I don't say it because it's like I've just started to think about it. It's not really well formed in my mind. I still don't really know what I would want to say about it. The thought is not really fully formed. So I'm wondering like should I maybe just not say it now and then maybe say it a few weeks later after I thought about it some more. And then what do I say instead now? Like what do I say now? I don't remember when I recorded the last part of this episode, I think 3 days ago or something. And since then, I just was just kind of thinking, okay, but like, what else am I gonna say? This is just like 20 minutes. I mean, maybe 20 minutes is fine. I've said it before. Maybe I should just upload it as is. But even then, like after that episode, the next episode, okay, what do I say then? I mean, I'm just kind of like I could just arbitrarily cut it. I could, in theory, like record 10 hours and then just cut it into chunks or something. So that doesn't really matter. It's just like, yeah, what do I say next? Do I have anything to say? I'm sure there are things in my mind I could say somewhere in there, but I don't really know what to talk about. Um, yeah. See, that's the thing because what's been on my mind right now and recently, which is to say the last 10 hours or something, last day or something, is something about video games, but that thought isn't really fully formed yet. So I just kind of like even just now, I was just kind of like, oh, don't even mention it, don't mention it, don't mention it. Like I was thinking about it. Should I mention it? No, 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 I can mention it later. But it's like, should I mention it? Should I mention it now? Should I mention it in like a week or something? Should I record another time? I don't know. I don't even remember if I ever really talked much about my video game taste here. I don't think I did, so I would have to do a lot of explaining in the first place. So I guess I could do that. But I'm too lazy now, so I'm not gonna do it. Whatever. Let me just upload this.